Get comfortable with English in comfort. This is your English listening practice podcast to help you learn and improve naturally.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English in Comfort. I'm Anna.
And I'm Mark.
Today, we are going to talk about a problem that so many English learners struggle with. Why you can understand English but can't speak.
Right. This is a really common problem. You can understand English perfectly, you can watch movies or listen to us right now with no problem. But the moment you try to speak, you feel completely stuck. It's really frustrating.
True. It is such a frustrating feeling. And the problem is, when this happens, most people assume they just need to study harder. They think, I need to memorize more words, or I need to study more grammar rules. But honestly, that is usually not the solution.
Exactly. Because if you can understand us right now, you already know enough English. The real issue is not your knowledge. It is your method. You have spent a lot of time training your ears to listen, but you haven't trained your mouth to speak. They are two different skills.
So in this video, we are going to fix that. We are going to show you exactly why this happens and give you the steps you need to start speaking freely. So get comfortable, grab your tea, and let's get started. So let's look at the first reason why this happens. Why we understand English but can't speak. You know, the first reason is just simple logic. Listening is easier than speaking. They are two completely different actions for your brain.
That is so true. Think about it this way. Listening is what we call a passive skill. You are receiving information. Your brain just has to recognize the words. It is like looking at a picture and knowing what it is. You don't have to create the picture, you just have to understand it.
Exactly. But speaking is an active skill. It needs more efforts. When you speak, you have to do 3 things at the same time. You have to find the right vocabulary, you have to use the correct grammar to put those words in order, and you have to use your mouth to pronounce them correctly.
And you have to do all of that in 1 second. It is a lot of pressure. When you are listening to us right now, you can guess the meaning from the context. If you miss one word, you still understand the main idea, you can relax. But when you speak, you cannot really guess. You have to produce the words yourself from nothing. So it is completely normal that your listening level is higher than your speaking level. One is input and the other is output. They use different parts of your brain.
So how do we fix this? How can we speak normally and better?
The answer is simple. Think about it. If you want to improve your speaking, you need to practice speaking more. It's that easy.
Right. But it's not that easy for a lot of learners to just practice. There are a lot of reasons why people are not practicing correctly, or they just stop practicing. The first reason a lot of learners say is, I do not have a partner. They think they need a teacher or a friend to speak with.
Right, but that is actually not true. You do not need a partner to practice speaking. You can simply talk to yourself. It might feel funny at first, but it works very well.
It does. Talking to yourself works and is as effective as talking to someone else. But there's another reason some people stop practicing speaking, and that is being shy. Many learners are afraid to speak because they do not want to make mistakes in front of other people.
I understand that feeling. But if you practice alone in your room, nobody is listening. You are safe. You can make mistakes. Fix them. It's like you are training yourself to feel good before you talk to a real person.
And then there is the last reason we always hear, which is time. People think, I am too busy. I do not have an hour to study. But you do not need an hour. You can practice for just 5 minutes while you are making coffee or walking. You just need to find the right small moments in your day.
So those are the easy ways to start. But there is one more thing. You might be practicing every day but doing it the wrong way inside your head. It is the habit of thinking in your native language. And fixing this is the most important step to speaking English well.
That's right. You need to stop translating in your head. You need to train your brain to think in English.
This is what causes that long pause when you try to speak. Your brain is doing too much work. You hear the English, you turn it into your own language. You think of an answer, and then you have to turn it back into English.
That is way too many steps. It makes you tired and it makes you slow. You want to cut out that middle step. You want to hear English and immediately think in English.
But I know that sounds difficult. Beginners always ask, how can I think in English if I do not know many words? The answer is to start very small. You do not need to think about deep or difficult topics. Just look around you right now. What do you see? What do you see, Anna?
I see a table. I see a cup.
Exactly. That is the first step. Name objects in your mind. Do not, absolutely not say the word in your native language. Just look at the object and think, book, window, phone.
That seems like an easy practice. And then, once that becomes easy, you can move to the next level. You start making simple sentences in your head. For example, when you're making breakfast, just think, I am making coffee. Or, the water is hot. But all should be in English.
So you are basically narrating your life, but inside your head.
Exactly. It trains your brain to find the English words fast, without translating them first.
It's all about training and practice. So thinking in English is a huge part of the training. But there is another big reason why you can understand but not speak. And it is because you might be learning vocabulary the wrong way.
That sounds a little strange, right? You might think, how can I learn a word wrong? But think about this. You probably recognize thousands of English words when you read a book. But when you speak, you only use a very small number of them.
It is true. We have two groups of words in our heads. There is the group we understand, which is very big. And there is the group we can actually use, which is usually very small. And the reason for this gap is often how we study.
You know, usually in school, we learn lists. We see a word in English and we memorize the meaning in our own language. We memorize word equals meaning. This is good for passing a test, but it really doesn't help for speaking.
Right. Because when you speak, you don't need a list. You need to know how that word fits with other words. If you only learn the word by itself, your brain doesn't know how to use it in a sentence. It gets stuck.
So here is the fix. Stop learning words by themselves. When you learn a new word, you must learn it inside a phrase or a full sentence. You need to give your brain the context. For example, don't just learn the word decision. That is just one piece of the puzzle. Instead, learn the phrase, make a decision, or a hard decision.
Or let's say you learn the word agree. Don't just write agree. Write a sentence like, I agree with you. Now your brain knows exactly how to use it. You are learning ready-to-use English, not just a list of ingredients. So we have talked about your brain, your habits, and your vocabulary. But there is one more reason why you stay silent and can't speak. And honestly, this is probably the biggest one. It is not about ability. It is about fear. The fear of making mistakes.
You are absolutely right. The fear of making mistakes. It stops us from doing so many things in life, but also speaking a new language. We stay quiet because we are scared we will look silly and weird if we mess up.
And this usually comes from trying to be perfect. A lot of learners have this rule in their head that says, I must make 0 mistakes. If I cannot say the sentence perfectly, I will not say it at all.
But that is a trap. If you wait until you are perfect, which no one is, you will never speak. And then there is the problem of overthinking grammar. You are in the middle of a sentence, and suddenly you stop because you're thinking, wait, is it in or on? Is it do or does?
And while you are worrying about that tiny grammar rule, the conversation has already moved on. You missed your chance to speak. And you know what? It is also very easy to feel shy or embarrassed, especially when we compare ourselves to native speakers.
That is the worst thing you can do. You compare your learner English to someone who has spoken the language for their whole life. That is not a fair comparison. Of course, they speak faster, but that does not mean you are failing.
We need to change how we view mistakes. Mistakes are not bad things. They are actually necessary. You cannot learn to walk without falling, and you cannot learn to speak without making grammar mistakes.
That is the truth. Every time you make a mistake, it is actually proof that you are trying. So, be kind to yourself. Allow yourself to be imperfect. It is the only way to grow.
And finally, there is one last reason why your speaking isn't improving. You simply lack a daily routine.
We mentioned earlier that people feel they have no chance to practice. And it is true, life is very busy. You have work, school, family. Life in general is full.
It can feel completely overwhelming and stressful. And when you are stressed, the idea of studying English for an hour feels impossible. So usually you end up doing nothing.
But here is the secret. A good routine does not need to be long. You do not need an hour. You only need 5 to 10 minutes. It is much better than stressing about a big goal and doing nothing at all. So, what can you actually do in just 5 or 10 minutes? It is simple. You can use the techniques we talked about. You can spend 5 minutes repeating phrases you hear in a video.
You can try shadowing, where you listen to audio and try to speak along with it at the same speed.
Or just talk to yourself while you are making breakfast. Tell yourself your plan for the day.
Just 5 minutes. That is manageable. And that consistency is what will finally help you speak.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode about why I can understand English, but I can't speak it.
We hope this helped you understand why you feel stuck sometimes. Remember, the problem is not your brain, and it is not your ability. It is just about changing your method. You need to train your mouth, not just your ears.
That's right. And now we have a question for you. We are really curious to know, how do you usually practice your speaking? Do you talk to yourself? Do you read out loud? Or do you have a different routine?
Let us know in the comments. We love reading about how you learn.
And as always, for more English listening and speaking practice, be sure to subscribe to English in Comfort.
Thank you for letting us be part of your learning journey. Keep practicing, keep improving, and take care, everyone.